Okay, it's live. How you guys doing out there? Just running a quick test. We have a really bad connection here at the. You're gonna have to take this if they call at the Palms. We're trying to and we're trying to see if that connection is going to be a problem. Let me know if you guys can see me. Do you guys have the ability to look at the questions right now to see if people can see me?
Let me see.
Yeah. Let's see if anybody is talking.
Do you see him? Is he on? Okay.
What do you say?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay, awesome. Apparently we're getting to go. So I'll have my buddy keep looking at this. Apparently we're doing this on dial-up speed, so it's kind of nice that it's actually working. So with that said, let me pull up the questions. Because we were battling with this little problem, I wasn't ready with the questions.
Oh.
I had them up earlier. Okay, here we go. So welcome to this week's Fearless Man weekly live Q&A live from Vegas here at the Palms Hotel. We're basically doing an event this week, and it's going to be another event with Zamparion, so we're super excited. Our second event here in Vegas, super excited about that. And basically, everything's going really well. It actually starts tomorrow morning, so we got a lot of hustling to do and a lot to prepare for, and it's going to be 3 full days, and it's going to be an intensive here. So for those of you that haven't experienced the Fearless experience, it's quite an adventure, and we'll see if we can get some footage this weekend from the experience for you guys to see what's going on, maybe talk to some of the students and so forth. Now, right after this on Monday, we fly out to Romania, Bucharest, to do 3 more workshops there. So we're really busy right now. I'm going to be hustling to get in communication with you guys, to get in your questions and answers and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to do my best to connect with you guys. And sorry about the lighting in here, guys. This is horrible lighting, but this is about the best we're going to get. Every light in this room is on. And I know I look green and probably sickly and reds and all kinds of stuff, but it's the best we can do. So let's dive into these questions this week.
Hey, Kyra wanted you to do the lesson on the terror barrier.
Oh yeah, we're doing the lesson on the terror barrier this week. That's right. It's all the distraction I forgot. So let's talk about the terror barrier. Now, the terror barrier is interesting. Can you grab me a pad? Thank you. The terror barrier is an interesting concept. It's a concept that first came to me through a man named David Nagel, a coach that I trained with for a while. He's a business coach. And David's a brilliant man. You talk about grounded and powerful and confident. He's all of that. But the terror barriers is this concept. I don't know. I don't think he created it. I think he got it from somebody. He might have came up with it. But it's a powerful concept. And it goes right along with the principle of tension. I'm going to open these windows a little more. We get a little more light in here for you guys.
Here, there are no notepads.
There we go. So it goes, grabbing my notebook. So it goes right along with the principle of tension, and this idea that we grow through tension. We grow through pushing tension, stepping into tension. Everything grows through tension. So, for example, if we take a plant, for example, we take a seed and we bury it in the ground. Can you shut that door?
Yeah.
There we go. Sorry about that, guys. That's the tech trying to figure out how to get our Wi-Fi working better, because we're doing this on dial-up speed, and I'm surprised it's even working. So it's a lot of little emergencies right now, a lot of little interruptions. So the whole idea of tension is really simple. If you bury a seed in the ground, I mean, it really doesn't activate until it's buried in the ground. It's a better way to put it. The seed doesn't actually step into its full potential until it's buried into the earth, and all that pressure is put on it. Then what happens is the shell has to rot and has to break through and dig roots, and then it slowly grows by fighting its way through the earth, and then eventually poking out of the ground, and then slowly growing into a tree or a plant or whatever it's going to grow into. It's all that tension that it grows through, and that's the power of tension. Okay, how do you build muscles? You have to lift weights. You have to stress the body to build muscles. You don't just build muscles by laying around and imagining you have muscles. There has to be something and some application of tension. If you take all the gravity off the body is going to eventually atrophy and die. And so we don't want that to happen either. So we need a base amount of tension. Now let's talk about the terror barrier, because we all have our base amount of tension that we're comfortable with. And if we try to go way beyond it, we're going to blow ourselves out. It's like trying to lift too much weight. But if we play, we can stretch that range until eventually we're more comfortable, more comfortable, more comfortable, more comfortable. Like somebody like Richard Branson, who can handle a lot of tension now, who can really step into a lot of tension. Anybody that is, let's say, a sports figure, somebody who's a public figure, who's making large amounts of money, successful people, they tend to handle tension very differently than the rest of us. So terror barrier come into this. For the average person that's used to comfort, that's used to chasing comfort and security, living in comfort and security, playing with comfort and security in the sense that they're used to, like, this is my comfort bubble. I don't want to step out of it. Or if I do, I'm going to do it only because I have to. I have to go to the doctor, so I'm going to go. I have to work out, so I'm going to work out. I have to go to my job every day, so I'm going to go to my job. It's not a want to. It's not a passion. It's not an enjoyment. It's not part of who they are as a person. So for that person, they have to start learning to step out of their comfort zone. And that's where the terror barrier comes in. The terror barrier is this idea that let's say you get an inspiration, this beautiful inspiration. You want to do X, or you want to do Y. You want to move. There's this inspiration. I want to move to New York. I've always wanted to live in New York. And every year you keep saying you're going to move to New York. So finally you get really serious about it and you commit. And then you say, I'm going to pack my bags in 6 months. I'm going to throw it all in the trailer and we're going to haul off to New York. We're going to take off from California. I'm going to get a new job. I'm going to quit this job I've had for the last 10 years. I'm going to change everything. This is my inspiration. I can feel it in my bones. And at first you're really excited. You can't wait to do this. But then as time goes on and you get closer and closer and closer to New York, to moving to New York, you start to freak out. You start to get more scared. This could also be associated with approaching women too. Let's say you want to start a business, or you want to start going out and talking to girls. You want to talk to these beautiful girls that you see at the bars every week, but you just don't do it. So then finally you make this commitment. I'm going to start. And so New York comes closer and you're ready to make that move. And then suddenly all these stories come up. They start screaming in your head. Oh, all this bad stuff's going to happen. You can't quit your job right now. You've had this job forever. Oh my God, you're going to lose all your 401k. You're never going to find anything better. You're not going to make any new friends. And these things start screaming louder and louder and louder in your head. And what's happening is we're coming up against the terror barrier. And that's that point where you're actually going to do it. It's a point of no return. You can't turn around anymore. You're in. You're 100% in. And what's going to happen is your ego is going to do everything it can to get you to turn around, like approaching women, asking a beautiful woman out, asking a woman to marry you if that's what you want to do. And it's going to have a million good stories why this is wrong. But it seemed so right just a few months ago. But now, as you're getting really close to the final decision, you want to run back to your comfort zone. That's the terror barrier. I always liken it to a football field. You're going across that football field. And when does the defensive line fight the hardest? When you're right there, ready to cross the goal. When you're just like a few yards away and you're right there, and they're determined not to let you get that goal. And so it's the same thing in anything in life, but the difference is now it's your ego. The tension rises through the roof when you're getting right to that point where you're going to cross into the end zone, you're going to score. You're going to make a big jump in your life. And everything inside you wants to turn around. But what happens is people that are more comfortable with tension, have been stepping into tension for years, have worked their tension skills up, start to see this as just, they separate from it. They don't buy into the stories anymore. Those stories are just noise in their head. It's just garbage. And they listen to it and they go, yeah, but this is what I'm doing. I'm committed. Yeah, but this is what I'm doing. I'm committed. People like Elon Musk, I'm going for it. Richard Branson, I'm going for it. Robert Kiyosaki, I'm going for it. And they go for it. And what happens is that when you cross into that end zone, when you make that step past and beyond the terror barrier, and you finally step into it, there's a sense of relief when the stories die. And it's at that moment that nobody can touch you because you're in the end zone. It's that moment when all those stories die and you realize it was all just bullshit in your head anyways. Now you're living in New York and you love it. Maybe the first few months was horrible. Maybe the first month was horrible. Then you made 2 friends, 3 friends. Next thing you know, you got a new job that's better than ever before because you followed through and committed fully. You didn't sit there and beat yourself up. You just kept going. And that's the terror barrier. And we have these all through our lives, and they're designed to keep us from crossing that point where more of the ego will die off and you'll become more free. You'll become more powerful. Every terror barrier is like getting another goal. And it's like crossing into that end zone. And what happens is those first few terror barriers you do consciously. You're going to go out and you're going to make your first sale and you make it. And it's like, it was so hard, so scary to go into that office and make the pitch. And maybe you had to do 10 of them. And then finally you got one. And there's this sense of relief and appreciation. And then you get a second one, you get a third one. And then you're like, screw this. I'm going to go bigger. I'm going to get bigger clients. I'm going to go to another company that pays more. I'm going to push my boundaries. And then a new terror barrier starts up. What if I'm not good enough here? What if I can't do it? What if everybody here is better because this is a bigger company? I'm going to be playing I'm not a big fish in a little pond anymore. I might be a little fish in a big pond. Then you got to do it again. And you got to keep doing this over and over and over again. I don't know where that's coming from. Okay. Give us 1 second, guys. Okay, it stopped. So you got to keep doing this over and over and over again. In life, that's the way it works. But what happens is eventually the terror barriers start to, when you get good with tension, they start to become fun. They start to become interesting. They start to become a challenge more than a terror. I might call them the challenge barrier or the fun barrier. And you look at it like think of a strong man who's out there lifting the weights. And at first he's nervous. As a kid, he's learning to lift weights. He lifted more. He's lifted more. And now he's out there with all the big strong men. I have a strong man client that is killing it. And now he's playing with the big boys. And he's like, he can't wait to get out there and compete at the next level again. And compete at the next level because he's no longer terrified by the terror barriers. He walks through them and he says, I'm going to go for it. Elon Musk does this. Richard Branson's do this. And this is when we're learning to be powerful with tension. And so I want to invite you into this world of the terror barrier. And I want you to start thinking about it from this perspective. I'm going to pull out a piece of paper here. And I want you to start imagining, asking yourself, where in your life do you keep starting to go towards the goal line and you keep turning around? Where in your life do you not follow through? And that bag's a mark, not that bag. Yeah, that bag. Wait, no. I'm not sure. It might be this one. I'll find another marker, see if I can make this clearer for you guys. Here we go. Well, I'll just use this pen. Sorry. Okay. So sorry, we don't have our whiteboard. We're just making it work today, guys. So the way it works, I'm going to show you a little graph here. Okay. If I show you this graph, this is the starting point. That's my scribble that says start. This is goal up here. And what happens is down here, there's low tension. This is the level of tension going up this way. So we'll say tension here. The amount of tension you're experiencing in any activity, and it goes up this way. So as you go this way, this is getting you closer to goal. This is goal over here. Maybe we'll do a cleaner version of this later. And as you go towards the goal, what happens is the tension rises and it keeps rising. And it's at its worst right before you get that goal line. It's screaming right here. This is where every story's going off in your head. But the moment you cross into that line, cross that line where that arrow is, there's a sense of freedom inside you. I did this. I accomplished this. It might happen in a moment. It might take a few weeks or a month, like when you get to New York before you fully settle in. But if you're really following your purpose inside, you need to go through those stories because that's what's going to take you to where you want to be. And so it changes. What ends up happening is once you get good at this, and this is how I've created all the success, this along with releasing, which we're not going to get as much into today, maybe a little bit when we get into the questions. But if you've been doing this and you've gotten good at it, guys, this will change your life. Because if you get good at acknowledging and walking through tension, not blindly, acknowledging the tension over and over and over again, you're going to grow like crazy. Well, you're no longer going to run from it. You're going to walk right into it. You're going to change your life. And am I right? So what happens is when you do this, another diagram, each one of these represents a terror barrier, and each one of these represents a goal line you cross. Every time you cross that goal, maybe this one here is getting used to approaching women on the street, and then getting used to approaching women in bars, then getting used to being more sexual with women, then getting used to touching more and asking questions, then getting used to getting deep with a woman. Who knows? All these different things. But when you get up here and you've crossed all those little terror barriers, right here is your paradigm shift. Suddenly, you're a whole different person with women. And people look back at you and go, who was that guy? Because you stepped through all those stories and all those beliefs and you collapsed them. You're not as much learning. There's some learning going on. But you're really surrendering on all the fear and all the stories between you and what you're built to do as a man, which is be confident and step into that tension and change your life. Because men are built to handle tension. We just have to get used to it again. So with all that said, let's play with some questions today, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Questions are coming in over there. I see them. Live chat, you got it going. You guys are talking to them?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we got two guys monitoring the chat right now. And what I'm going to do is dive into the questions I've got on this sheet. We're not going to probably get through all of them, but we're going to get through as many as we can. Whatever we don't get through on this sheet, we'll get to next week. I'll also try to take a few questions from the audience out there too, guys. So right now, there is 30 of you. That's awesome. Okay, let's dive in. The first one is from Peter, and he says, hi, Brian. I know it's good to flirt with all women, not only the ones you're attracted to. I do have a pattern of being very picky, but in relation to that, should one be sexual with and pursue women one is not initially attracted to? I mean, this is in the context of being sexually forward, setting up dates, etc. This is a hard question to answer without meeting you. I'm going to be really honest. And my initial answer for you, my gut feeling is yes. I have clients that do what you do. And they have a million stories why they can't date women, why they can't go out on dates, why they can't, oh, this girl's all right. Let me check it. Let me get to know her a little bit because they're so picky. And what ends up happening in every case, I don't know one that hasn't happened, is because they don't ever go on dates unless they really like a girl, unless they really want to be with a girl. When they get that girl they really like, and I've got this call many times, oh, I'm in love with her, what do I do? I'm like, well, good luck. You haven't practiced at all. You haven't practiced connecting, having rapport, socializing, stepping into the tension. You need to go out there and get to know these women. There's something interesting about all these women. You don't have to have sex with them, but at least get to know them, practice connecting, practice going deeper, practice being attractive. What you're going to find is some of these women are actually going to turn out to be really interesting. Now, I'm not saying go way outside your comfort zone, but I'm saying expand it for a little bit until you get some experience and then start tightening it back in. And because, again, if you only go on one date, I have a client doing this right now. If you only go on one date once in a blue moon because you're so picky, and he did this exact thing. He got a date with a girl he thought was amazing, and he just didn't have the experience. So now he's starting to date. He started to practice because he doesn't want that to happen again. He doesn't want to lose the girl he's really interested in because he has no experience. And what you're going to find is some of these girls are going to be fascinating and fun and interesting, and maybe you won't be attracted to them. Maybe you'll get attracted to them. In the beginning, that's how I started. I started dating a lot of different girls, and then I got pickier and pickier. And what I found is some of those girls I dated were amazing. Some of them are good friends of mine today. Some of them I did end up dating for a while because they were so cool. And some of them, I just moved on from it. There wasn't a connection, but I learned tons from that. So, short answer. Normally, if you're good with women, I'd say no. Only go out if you've got the skill down. Only go out with women you like. Why would you do anything else? But if you're not getting anywhere with women, you need to start somewhere. You need to start dating. This next one is from somebody called Unknown. I'm assuming this came through the email. And this is a long one, so let's see here. Okay, Brian, thank you very much for all the info you put out there. It is resonating with me on a deep level, of course. The challenge for me is now to embody more of these principles. It was difficult. It was a difficult journey for me. Not long ago, I realized I am more of an empath, and all my childhood and adolescence was feeling what was unresolved in others. All these led to self-blame, shame, negative emotions that you can think of. You can imagine why. You can imagine what my results with women were like. I completely shut down my emotions, going around like a zombie, and most of the time, all the tension that accumulated in my body was releasing it through porn, through getting high, through gambling. That's exactly what happens. How can you handle better these addiction problems, especially gambling? I try to feel and let go more and more of these negative emotions, but once I try to, the way this is written, it looks like it's in paragraphs, but it's not. It's kind of jumping from sentence to sentence. More and more of these negative emotions, but once in a while they take over. Then I don't care about anything. Spend most of my money gambling and then go back to self-blame, shame. And it's very difficult to start over again. On a positive side, being very energetically sensitive, I start to see that as more of a gift. For example, your energy is so strong and positive, I don't really need to analyze what you are saying. I'm almost clearing my energy just by listening to you. Maybe it's also a matter of time to process all that stuff. On a different note, I would really like to participate in one of your events, maybe next time when you come to Romania. My apologies for the long message, and thank you again. I really feel this energy that you transmit is one that that the world needs more right now. Well, thank you very much. Wish you the best. Take care. I don't know if you live in Romania, but we're going to be there. I'll be flying there Monday, and I love Romania. I love all. I mean, I love people. I love Europe. It's a fascinating place. So, with that said, believe the reason that people get a lot of addictions and don't resolve them and have a hard time letting go of the addictions. Well, first off, I think 12-step groups are great for getting through addictions. I don't know if you got 12-step groups where you are. I know some people don't like them, but I still think they're great. It's the surrendering aspect. And it's all, that surrendering aspect has connotations to releasing, which I think is powerful. The biggest thing that it sounds like is going on in your life, just listening to your story, is some type of abandonment issue. That made you an empath. You started feeling abandoned, so you started, like, maybe you had an unstable parent or something like that, I'm just guessing, or unstable raising, and then you started learning to adjust to the parent, the alcoholic, the person, whatever they were like, adjust to their emotions to make them happy. As a child, you started learning to read their emotions because it wasn't safe not to know where the parent was at. You had to adjust to them. Now, this may or may not be true, but somehow you got these empathic abilities and you develop them at a young age, and it's usually through some type of trauma like abandonment. That's where the nice guy gets created. Now, the next step, of course, is starting to numb out because you want to make everybody happy. You want to adjust everybody. So what happens is, because you can't make everybody happy, it's impossible. It can't be done. You're not going to make your girlfriend always happy. You're not going to make your mother always happy. That's part of life. There's called rupture and repair. We have squabbles and fights, and then we repair. We become closer together. But in an unhealthy parenting, we have fights and squabbles. Things happen, and repair is withheld from the child. That's what creates the sense of abandonment. And so the child is taught that when you disagree with me, I'm going to punish you. And that doesn't work, because then the child starts learning to try to become a chameleon, become who the parent needs me to be to make them happy. And it doesn't work. You can't do that, because the child will then grow up a nice guy, codependent, all these different things. It's bad. So a healthy parenting, the child has rupture, and then the parent repairs, and they grow and they bond together. And the child learns that it's okay to have a different opinion. It's okay to not have to take care of somebody 24 hours a day and their emotional needs. So with all that said, that's what's probably going on. And so what's happening is you're filling the void of that abandonment and your lack of connection with other people with drugs, alcohol, things like that, because that's what I find it usually is. is that we want to get the connection through other things. Again, there's a study where they took some rats, a rat, or really it was started with one rat, and they cooked it on cocaine, and it drank out a water bottle, this cocaine, and it would slowly kill itself, any rat that did this. But what they found was another scientist got another idea, researcher, that he was going to put that rat, after it was hooked on the cocaine, in a cage with a bunch of other rats that are healthy. And he put the water bottle in there for him to drink. And at first the rat would drink on the water bottle with cocaine in it. But every day he drank a little bit less and a little bit less. And eventually he weaned himself off of it. What they found was when the rat was around a bunch of other rats being social again, it started to fill the void, and it didn't need the drugs anymore. It started to feel loved again, connected to other beings, other rats. People are the same way, I believe. The difference is that we have the ability, because we have such a strong neocortex, analytical mind, to keep people at bay, even when we're in a room full of people. We can't just be put in a room full of people. We have to learn to drop our guard again. Rats can't keep up a guard. We have to learn to let people in again. We have to learn to let ourselves connect and be loved again. And then suddenly, over time, as you do that, you need less and less of these addictions, and they start to go away. But also, that's why 12 steps are so good. These people will hold you and support you and be there for you while you're going through all this. And getting into the workshops and seminars and things like that, where we can really step in and do a lot of work with helping you to learn to connect to other people better, understanding what your defenses are, seeing how your defenses are played out. So that's really the short of it. We'll be in Romania, like I said, next week. If you're out that way, I'm curious what country you live in. We don't have your name on here. It just says unknown. So I hope this gets to you, and I hope it helps, and I hope it gets to anybody else that needs it too. So thank you guys. Next one, let's see. Next one is by somebody named Kanan. When I'm welcoming an unwanted feeling like anxiety, all I hear inside my head is bullshit. You're not welcoming anything. You actually ask in a few seconds if you want to let it go. You'll actually ask whether, yeah, okay. So I've had this happen many times. It feels like I'm deceiving myself when I try welcoming something, when my real intention is to let it go. How can I truly let a feeling be here if my real intention is to let go in a few seconds? This feels similar to using the word but in a sentence. You know what they say, everything you say after the but is bullshit. If you say you're good looking, but your nose is crooked, the part before the but is bullshit. Just in the same way, when you're using the Sedona, or the Sedona method, that's what you're referring to, I feel like I'm saying, I welcome this anxiety, but I want to let it go. And my brain screams bullshit. That's not what I'm actually saying when using Sedona. I'm doing it properly, but this is what it feels like. So how do you solve the contradiction between letting a feeling be here and letting it go? People run into this a lot. This is a very common problem, and welcoming and feeling. I have a different little take on the Sedona method and this type of releasing. First off, you got to welcome it to let it go, but you got to look at welcoming a little different. If I want to clean a room out, like I want to clean a garage out, I got to open the garage door, look inside, and I got to see all the junk in there. That's in your subconscious, right? I got to feel the emotions. I got to see what's there so I know what to clean. I can't take stuff out if I keep the door shut and I won't look inside. I don't take inventory. I don't look at what's there. So that's the first step. That's what welcoming is. It's not saying I'm going to keep it the way it is. It's saying I'm going to accept it the way it is. But once you truly accept it and you can feel it to some degree, you're going to be able to let it go. But if you don't accept it, you keep it. Whatever you push away, you keep. And that's what they're trying to do there. But what a lot of us do is we never get to the stage of acceptance because we haven't learned what that feels like yet. So what we do is we say, okay, I welcome it. Okay, now I want to let it go. I welcome it. Now I want to let it go. And it doesn't work. We get frustrated. And I used to do this a lot. So I started a game of saying, can I welcome this like I'm going to keep it forever? Can I just sit here and hold on to this? And what would it feel like if this was my noisy next door neighbor? He just bought the house. He's not going away. I have to get comfortable with him being there. Can I just breathe it in? Can I sit there with it? I might sit with something, learning to do this 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, until I really feel a sense that I can handle that emotion. What you're going to find is if you truly welcome it really well, it's going to let go on its own most of the time. And if not, you can ask, can I let more of this go? And it'll go. But we can see in your body when I'm working with you, when guys are going up and not welcoming well, and we start directing them back down, and it starts to really help. And they start to, oh, that's what that's supposed to feel like. Now, another thing you can do, and this is the part where I'm a little different on this, is you can say no. You can say fuck no. This is my belief. I've done this and it's helped so many clients. They're sitting there and they're welcoming and they don't want to welcome. And I'm looking at them going, yeah. And they feel heavy. And I'll look at them and I go, why'd you say yeah? Yeah, that's what I want. It's what I want. Well, what do you feel? Well, I feel no. Then say no. Then they say no. And you see they feel a little lighter. So I can still feel the frustration. And so I say, try saying fuck no. And they will fuck no. And then they laugh. And you see it take a deep breath and they're like, oh, that feels so much better. And what they actually did there was they actually just started welcoming it the moment they said no, because they gave themselves, as a nice guy, and I run into so many nice guys, permission to say no, to actually be angry, to step outside to not make it about trying to make me happy or get to a result. It's just, no, I don't want to do this. And then boom, there's a release. So don't think of the answer to the question as having to be a yes. It can be a yes, no, fuck no, or something else. If it causes you to accept or feel lighter, it doesn't really matter what the answer is. Notice what your body's reaction is. And eventually the anger will wear off. And just notice, welcome the anger that's coming with the fuck no. And eventually the fuck no won't mean as much. You'll be like, oh, now I can just say no. Now I can say yeah. Another thing you can do is ask yourself to welcome it. If you can't welcome it, can I hold on to it? Can I hug it? Can I be with this? Can I welcome it like I'm going to keep it forever? I already talked about that one. You know, what would it be like if I was never going to let this go? Could I just sit in it? So it's that type of stuff. You've got to change the wording to fit how you're feeling. And you're trying to get the feeling in alignment. You're not worrying about getting a yes. I might say, can you let this go? And you say no. And then you let it go because you said no. If you said yes, you would have held on to it. And you feel a little release. You feel a little lighter inside. Or I might say, can you let this go? And you say, fuck no. And then there's a release. And then you're like, I feel so much better. That's a release. That's all that matters. I don't care how you get it. You're not hurting anybody, yourself. You're releasing the stuff out of your system. Now, for those of you that can't feel at all when you try to do a release, that's different. You kind of got to go with the flow until you learn to feel again, probably do some embodiment work, stuff like that, because the feeling will come with time. If your life is changing on the outside, though, something is working on the inside. So great question. Thank you for asking it. I'm glad I could help you. So I wanted to say the Fearless Man Live is coming in November. For those of you that haven't taken the Fearless Man Live, it's an awesome event. It only gets better. I love it. It's going to be in November in Los Angeles, the 11th and the 12th, all day long. We're going to teach tons of stuff, and it's your chance to ask me these questions personally. The Fearless Man Live is starting to become a bigger event. It's getting bigger and bigger. So if you really want to come out and ask me these questions personally, now's the time to do it. Get out there, get to the event. It's only $97 and the sale ends at the end of this month. So get in now, $97 to go to an event where you're going to learn so much. It's ridiculous. We do a lot of demos on stage with the women. We do live demos right there. We pull guys up. If you want to volunteer, we can pull you up potentially. You get to ask me questions personally. You get to ask the other coaches questions personally. You even get time out in the evenings with some of the coaches, or if you want to go to dinner with us, there's an option for that too. So I just want to invite you to the Fearless Man Live, only $97, which is ridiculously cheap, in Los Angeles, in Marina Del Rey, where there's all kinds of beautiful women. And it's a chance to bond with some men, really change your paradigm, and learn a lot about yourself and about your relationship to women. And you'll be surprised how much more real this stuff becomes when you're there live. So get out to that event. Make sure you click the link in the chat box. It should be in there already. Is it in there, guys?
I'm about to put it in, yeah.
He's putting it in right now. So as soon as that link's in there, you go to it if this is something you want to do. Or if the truth is that one of my earliest events was a big group event like this. And honestly, it was one of my favorite events. I met so many guys that became lifelong friends at that event. It changed my life radically. So for that reason alone, I'm really glad I did it. And it cost a lot more than $97, that event for me. So, so we got a vague question apparently. So that's what I see here. Sometimes when we get these vague questions, we send emails back to you guys asking for more detail, but in this case, we didn't have a return email. So we're just going to go through it. Hi, Brian. Your channel is amazing. Thank you. I'm 18 years old, on my second year at university. I've had neediness problems throughout my life. That's why I've been into personal development for about a year. I've never been in a formal relationship, and the only girls I've dated have been shy and relatively unattractive, both physically and personally. At least not the girl I picture myself with. I think part of the problem, besides my upbringing, is the fact that I had a huge crush on an amazing girl in high school, but failed since I was being the ultimate nice guy and became a close friend. Ever since then, the really great girls I've met have become only friends. I consider myself quite attractive and do well at school, but part of me feels like confident, beautiful girls wouldn't want to date me since I'm not a party kid, party kind of guy, or a macho man. Would love to hear some advice or tools I can use. Now, first off, you're 18, so that's awesome. You got plenty of time to learn this stuff. It sounds like you're probably a nice guy. It's not that what I find with nice guys, we get nice guys of every type. Nice guys can be handsome, can be ripped abs, can be muscular. We got one that's just got signed as an agent by an agent because he's so good looking. He's an actor. He's a very good looking guy, handsome, but he still has problems in this area, and he's growing and he's changing. And a lot of that has to do. It's not what you look like when it comes to this stuff. It's the energy you give off. Girls really respond to energy. They enjoy a good looking man like anybody else. But they really enjoy a man that knows how to handle the shit when the shit hits the fan, that can step into tension. That's why the macho guy gets the girl. But the macho guy sometimes is too macho. He's too arrogant. And so they can feel him covering up insecurity, so they lose interest. Sometimes the macho guy pushes too much and he has no sense of connection. So the macho guy doesn't always get the girl. The party guy doesn't always get the girl either. Even a nice guy can have a lot of women, but he has to be genuinely nice. That means not nice to win her over, not nice to make her happy, not nice to please her, not nice to get her to like him. Nice because he wants to be nice, because that's who he is inside as a human being. Because he actually cares about people, because he likes to make people smile. And if she doesn't accept it, that's fine. He still did it for himself, and that's all that matters. And that's how you have to shift. So there's a lot I would ask you, because it is a vague question. It's hard for me to answer the specifics we need. But I would recommend you read No More Mr. Nice Guy, read Way of the Superior Man, and then read my ebook too. But and practice, and you got to do practices, man. You got to go out and practice saying no to people. And if you can get out to a Fearless Man Live, get out to a Fearless Man Live. I don't know where you're at in the country, but we've had guys. My first student was 16. Now he's in his 20s, well into his 20s. That was over a long time ago, probably closer to 30. But he changed his whole life. He couldn't get a girl to save his life. And then he became the most popular kid in high school. I was a hypnotist at the time, and he came to me. And I remember Steve Pickus referred him to me, and I didn't really have a practice yet at doing any of this stuff. And that kid, he changed so much, it was ridiculous. He went from the shyest kid in his school that couldn't talk to anybody, and I'd see him like down at 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica with a pirate hat on, running up, talking to girls, saying arg, and flirting and laughing. And he changed his whole life and his whole way of being. And he became one of the most popular guys in his school. So if he can do that, you can do it too. Okay, let's jump to Robbie. And Robbie writes, I wanted to know your opinion on online dating. I can tell you right now, I'm not a big fan. You can get girls that way. There are guys that are amazing at it. I'm not the expert of online dating. I've never put much energy into it. It just doesn't interest me. But I feel like there's so many women. If I walk right out in Vegas right now, there's so many women. Why do I want to sit in here on my computer trying to meet them? You know, after trying a couple of top-rated dating sites, I've come to the conclusion that it is a complete waste of time, and chances of meeting, chance of women flaking on you are much higher in real life than in cold approach. I've sent several hundred messages to women and tried sending unique messages as well as but interesting messages, but have got only a dozen replies. Although I do not have stellar photos, well, that's part of the problem, because a lot of online dating is about the photos. And what you're right, if you're doing a full profile versus Tinder, the photos have to tell a story. It's not that you have to be the best looking. You have to be well groomed. You have to take care of yourself. You have to tell a story. You have to show energy. You have to show that your heart's open. You're connected in the photos. All the same stuff applies. So that much I do know. I believe that I have a pretty decent pics on my profile. I've read at numerous places, and I'm not sure what you're saying there. I've read at numerous places and myself experienced that women tend to date up on online portals and are swamped with messages. True. Just like a recruiter or hiring manager gets hundreds of messages from job seekers or LinkedIn. Also, in my opinion, Indian dudes are the least desirable men on online dating websites, but things are different altogether when you cold approach. In your opinion, should I leave online dating and focus solely on meeting women in person? Thank you for your expert opinion. If you want to learn online dating, learn it. You get to an expert that knows online dating and he can show you what to do. It depends. You really need somebody to look at your profile that understands what draws women in. I don't think the Indian part is as big a deal as you think. It's the energy, it's the vibe, it's the communication, it's the flow. It's also where you're at and how many messages the girls are getting. And so how quickly you're getting in there when you get a connection and you're sparking that tension and playing with them. There's a lot to it, man. And it's an art. Some guys really master it and they work hard and they go out there and they treat it like a sales job and they do it. They love it. They get into it. They're excited. You don't sound excited. If you're not into it and you don't want to do it, then don't go out and meet women the old fashioned way. If you don't want to do that either, now we got a problem. You got to meet women somehow, and you don't have to really cold approach either. What you're going to find is as you get really good with women, cold approach is important for getting you past your insecurities with women, your ability to express tension and play with tension and dance and flirt. But as you let go of all those stories, you're going to find that women kind of show up in your life. Then when you're out at the restaurant, some girl likes you. You're at the coffee shop, some girl's watching you, and then you start flirting with her, and it just kind of happens because it becomes part of who you are. But in the beginning, you got to do a lot of cold approaching to bust up all the stories and the bullshit to get that out of you if you're not a natural. But then later you become a natural. So that's my answer. I can't give you a lot of advice on online dating. We do have a guy here. We have a Tinder Hacks program coming out. And I didn't create that. That was created by somebody else. And that is good at Tinder. We have one guy that went through our programs. He became really good with women. He loved Tinder. And then he just went nuts with Tinder. And he dates women like crazy off of Tinder. So if you want to check that out, you can check that out. But Tinder's a unique animal. It's different than stuff like OkCupid and things like that too. So next one is from Eric. It's 6:49, by the way, guys. So we got about 10 minutes left. I met a girl in a bar and she kissed me in the middle of me talking. That's awesome. You did something right. She was not a good looking woman. And just because of that, I started to like her. Yeah, because she showed confidence. She's flirting with you. She validated you. I mean, there's a lot going on there. Is she more masculine than me? And have I been thinking maybe I just kiss a girl when she talks. Maybe I'll work the same as it did for me. It can work that way. It can also get you in a lot of trouble. So it depends on who you're being, how grounded you are, how solid you are, how connected to her you are. Can you read any of that subcommunication? Can you feel any of it? If you can, then that's awesome. Then yeah, maybe it will work. But there's signals that are going off telling her that you'll probably like it, or at least there should be before she did it. Telling her that you like her, that she's picking up on, or that there's something that she likes about you. And it's the same thing. If you just walk up and randomly kiss girls with that aren't giving you any signals and there's nothing coming back, yeah, there's going to be some weird stuff going on. But so what I would recommend to you is you got to learn. This is all about subcommunication. What you're talking about. This is all about who you're being. This is all about the beingness. Check out sex signals and learn to read a woman's sex signals. Learn to just sit in a bar and watch women give off signals and communication. Which ones are flirting more? Which ones are more flirty? I mean, what you're talking about there is another hard to answer one. I get what you're coming at or going for there, but there's so much subcommunication going on before you get to that phase that I have kissed a girl without talking to her. It happens. We get into a bar, I'm looking, I'm flirting, things are on. I'm flirting with a lot of girls. Girls are watching from across the bar, grabbing girls' hands, flirting, and some girls getting turned on watching. And then I turn and there's a eye connection. You feel it. It's just solid, and the tension and the vulnerabilities there. Start walking right into that eye connection. You feel it build, and you just feel that palpable energy between you two, and then you just kiss, and it happens. But I could see all that going on, and it doesn't sound like you're seeing all that yet. And that's where workshops would help you, or just getting out there and practicing, taking a little risk, working your way up. You can start moving in for the kiss slowly. You know, if you think a girl likes you and you wanna really push tension, you can just say, "I like you." And you could say something like, "If it wasn't for all these people right here, I'd be kissing you right now." And just stare her in the eyes and watch what she does. And if she says something like, "Well, we can go outside," then take her outside. Or if she says, "Really?" Just looks at you and holds that tension, start leaning in slowly for the kiss and see what she does. And if you go in slowly and she turns away, no big deal. But if you just start, the picture I had originally was you darting in and trying to steal these kisses, and that's not what I'm talking about. You know, these girls, when I kiss them, they know I'm coming in. I'm not stealing the kiss. They're inviting me, and we're inviting them. So maybe she stole a kiss from you and you liked it, but that's, you know, there's that play of energy. So, but when you get better and that play of energy is there, then you can start really playing with it. There was one time I leaned in and kissed this girl I was on a date with, and I picked the most unopportune time, awkward moment to do it. It was early on the date. She was rambling. There hadn't been a lot of touch yet, just a little bit. I got everything going, and I purposely wanted it to be awkward. Why? Because when I first started all this, it was really hard for me to kiss girls. I'd have to massage their back, turn them around, and kiss them. And in this case, I just slowly started leaning in as she was talking, and I got closer and closer and closer and closer because I thought she was amazing. I just held that tension. I enjoyed it. I savored it. She could feel me savoring it in my body and enjoying her. And as I got about an inch from kissing her, I felt her whole body tighten up. And I was purposely making this the most awkward place for me to be able to ground. I had to learn to ground that awkwardness or discomfort. And that's why I wanted to do it. I thought it'd be awesome. So as I get to an inch from her mouth and I'm ready to kiss her, I can feel her tense up, and I stop right there, but I don't pull back. I hold it. Say, "Are you okay?" Because I'm that close to her. She goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm kissing you." She goes, "Oh." And I pause. I said, "You want me to stop?" She goes, "No." Good. And so then I go in and I kiss her. We make out for a bit, and I pull back. And I look at her and I smile, and she goes, "Oh, did I ruin that?" I said, "No, you made it better." It's that type of stuff. It's sexy. I was playing with her the whole time, though. I was dancing with her the whole time. I have no idea where that sound comes from. So, oh, I think that's a Skype call, isn't it? Let's see if Skype's on my computer somewhere. Stuff. You see all the stuff that happens when you're not ready? All kinds of weird stuff happens. Well, it doesn't look like it was Skype, but oh well, it's gone now. Okay, so we're running out of time now. I got a few more questions. We're going to save these for next week, I think. Just a reminder, guys, the Fearless Man Live. And oh wait, we want to check in with one more thing. Do we have any questions there that are burning that we need to get out? Anything quick, one or two, from the live audience, guys, so that we can get. You know, I like to always take a few questions from the live audience. As a matter of fact, I like to do a call where one time we do all questions from the live audience.
Yeah,
I think that would be great.
Someone asked, and this is probably might be too general, but how long did it take you to break past your terror barrier in relation to women? Or terror barriers.
Terror barriers is the way to say it, because there's not just one, man. There was many. I would like it. There was the terror barrier of touching, you know. There was the there's terror barrier of just saying hi. There was the terror barrier of talking to him and asking him the time and directions that fucking scared the shit out of me. And then the terror barrier of saying hi, and then eventually kissing them, and then leading towards sex, and everything was like a battle with my own stories because I was so ridiculously shy, guys. And I had to break all the shyness. Matter of fact, getting these YouTube videos up was a terror barrier in the beginning. Now I don't care. I'm like, whatever, let's just do one now. Let's make it up. But in the beginning, it was nerve-wracking for me because I had so many stories about being seen, you know, getting bigger and bigger. And now I love it. So good question. it's a hard question to answer because I've been working on myself for over 10 years before this, not necessarily with dating, but I'd always been working on myself. So I broke some of the shyness down. But then when I started dating, I was terrified of meeting women. That was about 2006, 2007. And I started really pushing it, going out every night. I was drinking way too much. I wasn't desensitizing properly. I didn't have all the tools and techniques that I teach today. And I was just kind of making it up as I went. And it was a sloppy fucking mess. I kept reinventing what teachers were teaching me because it wasn't working fast enough and it wasn't working well enough. I still had a lot of fear in me. But by what I noticed was by 2009 or 10, right in that range, I started meeting a lot of women without approaching anymore. That's where it started to become natural for me to just meet women, attractive women, hot women were showing up in my life. And then from there, I started doing lots more work, inner work on myself. And as I did more inner work, what happened was I took a hiatus from women for a while. It was a 4 to 6 month period where I just didn't date anybody. I wanted to really go deep inside myself. And what happened was when the women started showing up in my life again, they were even more amazing. Not necessarily like more beautiful per se, but more just giving and loving and appreciative because I was becoming more giving inside. And so I was getting back a reflection of who I was. In the beginning, I was always trying to I was very selfish. I want to get this girl. I want to get that girl. And what I realized, it's all about giving, man. And saying no is giving. And that was huge too. Realizing that sometimes saying no is more giving than saying yes. Sometimes setting boundaries is more giving than just giving in. These things are huge for a nice guy to realize. And so, yeah. And then from there, it's been a progression up and down. I don't, dating it became a lot more about business. It became a lot more about helping people get through their fears, whatever they are, helping people break down their stories from that point on. Getting faster, helping you guys, like looking at a student saying that student's really stuck and I've never seen this before. How do I get through that? And so that became the rest of the journey, really. And now the journey is changing again, guys. I'm gonna announce this right here. There's a large part of the journey for me now is about I'm looking more and more, and I'm just playing with this, but what is it to have a lifelong relationship? What is it to have powerful long-term love in your life, and what do those relationships look like? I've had long-term girlfriends, sure, but I'm talking about where the idea is I'm going in and I want to create a tight container with somebody that's it's not necessarily about dating anymore. And what does that look like, and what do I want it to look like? Because I've dated a lot, I've had girlfriends, but I never set that intention to just be with one woman, potentially to even open my mind to be with one woman for the rest of my life. Because I was having too much fun. Because when I was younger, I didn't have any fun. I didn't want to get married or tie myself down until I felt like I could really be happy in a relationship and be fully me. So, okay, awesome.
There's one more that seems kind of important. He says it affects this weekend's interactions. How do you overcome the fear of having a false accusation in modern society? This fear makes escalation challenging. I'm confident in approaching in other aspects.
A false accusation?
I think he means like, being accused of harassment or that kind of.
One of the best ways to do it is if you got any guys that are good with women around you, go watch them. And you'll see how much fun they have, how free they are. And half the time when a girl's giving them shit, she's not really giving them shit, she's just playing. But if somebody does get mad at them, they tend not to take it too personal. Because this idea of false accusations, it's going to happen everywhere in life that you step into tension. You're going through those terror barriers, man. There's going to be people trying to slow you down at every walk of life, whether it's money, business, whether it's health, fitness. People are going to be saying, oh, you shouldn't do this, you're arrogant, or you're too cocky, and they're going to try to bring you down, and they're going to say all kinds of stuff to you. Whether it's with women or women saying, I didn't like the way you approached me, it's going to happen. Some girl's going to tell you you're being creepy because, if you're out there approaching enough, it's going to happen. Every girl's been creepy too. And if we run around and we don't get over this fear of worrying about what people think of us in general, we'll never be happy and never be free, because we'll run around trying to make the external world happy. And it doesn't work that way. When you get happy inside, the external world starts to treat you better. When you get happy inside and start giving that happiness away, that's when things start to work. And you can't worry about what people think to be happy. So you start doing a lot of field socialization exercises, which we have videos on. Do you have a link to any videos?
Yeah, I'll put that up.
Okay, so we put up a link to some of the field socialization exercises. But when you go out to do these field socialization exercises, you got to do them a lot. You got to do them often. It doesn't have to necessarily be to meet women. You could do them without meeting women. You could do it just for confidence. But you go out every day, 30, 60, 90 days straight of doing work, like going to the gym. I'm going to lift a little bit. Maybe you take a day off a week, but you really probably won't want to once you start getting good at this. It starts with highs. It starts with stops. It starts with all the different degrees of stops. It starts with subtle climbing up the ladder. And what happens is as you do more of it every day, like lifting weights, as your muscles get bigger, you start caring less about what people think. And the less you care, and I'm talking about truly care, not pushing it down, but the more you're just free of what people think, the more you're going to find that you get less and less of people pushing back and giving you weird accusations. More people just accept you for who you are. But until then, you will get that stuff. And you're going to learn from it. It's going to hurt. And you're going to have to release that. You're going to have to process that. That's all part of growth, man. I mean, it's part of life when you're growing and getting strong. If you truly want to go free and be confident, it's not something you do overnight, but you do it a little bit at a time. And if you start doing these exercises, though, inside of a couple of weeks, you can really change your reality. Now, if you want to know how to be free tonight, I would have to, if I sat down and worked with you for a bit, I'm sure we could do a little bit of work, but I'm not there to work with you. And I don't know what your personality's like. So what I would recommend is find your limit and start tension journaling and start writing down, what am I scared of in this room? What am I'm not scared of, but where do I want more confidence? Talking to that girl, talking to that girl, talking to that girl, where am I avoiding the tension? And what can I do? Now take the journal and write it down. It's talking to that girl in the polka dot dress, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, how scared am I to talk to her? Well, if I'm gonna go over there and directly hit on her, it's a 10. That's too much. What can I get that's a 6 or a 5? Can I go up and ask her what she's drinking? Can I ask her where the bathroom is? Can I ask her what the name of the bar is? Any of these questions. And then do that. And then come back and write down what you learned from it. Because what happens is you guys, you're this good, you got this much tension skill, and you're all trying to do this overnight. And your body's shutting down on you, and then you're getting mad. You do this. Maybe you do that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. And let's say you do that to 7 girls that night. What you're going to find is you're going to start opening up. And if you can do that to 10 girls, depending on where your fear's at, you might bust open tonight and be a lot more free. You might also get a little exhausted if you've got a lot of fear and shut back down. But if you play at that range, 6, 7, maybe an 8 on that scale, that's the sweet spot where you grow. You can even play with 4s, and you play and you keep doing them. But what you're going to find is every one you do, if you do 10 tonight, 20 tonight, and I've done like where I walk up and stop 80 people in a day, 100 people in a day. I actually did 400 one day where I didn't exercise, but it was from highs to stops, all kinds of stuff. And you're going to find you're going to get more free. When I did the 400 that day where I was doing all kinds of stuff, I could say anything to anybody. I was so free by the end of that day. I was walking right past people in a clothing store, right up to the girls, ringing up the people for the clothes and just having conversations and telling her what, you go free after a while. And then again, the next day you got to do it again. If you don't keep doing it for a while, at least, you don't break this stuff down. But once you've been doing it a long time, you really start to break this stuff down. So I'd recommend starting small. When you're going to a venue tonight, start really small. Just start saying hi to people passing you. Hey, how you doing? How's your night going? How's your night going? How's your night going? Get 20, 30, 100 of those in if you can. I mean, I'm talking about big numbers because it's going to set you free. Then stop a few people, ask them random questions. I can do 100 highs in 30 minutes. It's not hard. And then go into the bar and I feel a lot better. Then start stopping to people if you want. But I probably wouldn't do 100 now. I'd probably 10, 20. And then I start stopping people. Hey, quick question. Boom, boom, boom. Hey, do you know where the bungalow is? Do you know where the Hudson is? Hey, where's the beach, man? And are you from around here? Oh, really? And I just chat with people. And the next one, chat with people. And then once I start feeling good about that, then you go to the next level. You can warm yourself up that way. And those are great exercises. So watch the video that Mike's going to post on these exercises.
It was already posted. It's up there.
Okay, it's already up there.
Chat.
Look in the chats, and that should be able to help you. Okay. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was awesome. I love doing these videos. It's one of my favorite things. It actually makes me feel really good inside. And I love all the comments. So make sure you guys keep commenting and asking us what you need. Send us your emails. Get on these live feeds, and we'll try to get the bugs out of them as much as we can. And make sure you get out to the Fearless Man Live if you haven't already. Like I told you guys before, the next one is coming up in November right here. Oh, not here, in Los Angeles. I'm in Las Vegas right now. And it's only $97 till the end of this month. So get signed up right away, and come out and meet me in person, meet the models in person, get on stage, let us look at you, let us take a look at where you're at. If you want to be on stage, it's not required. And really get some true, honest feedback, because through the video screen, based on a question, I can only give you what, based on my experience and knowledge. When I see you, there's a lot more information that comes with me, and I can give you a lot more information. $97 at the end of this month to get started. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And with that said, remember, only the confident really live. Take care.